Well, as a mother of two young boys, I think a lot about how to raise them in a society where boys and men are falling behind in several different areas, according to the data, like in education, the workforce, and social settings. And that led me to want to further explore.
What's up, YouTube? Today we are debating with CNN on why boys are falling behind in school. The real reasons. Let's get into it.
It. So this week we're rolling out a series with social scientist Richard Reeves, and he has studied these trends extensively as the founding president of the American Institute for Boys and Men. And he's also the author of Boys and Men: Why the Modern Male is Struggling, Why It Matters, and What to Do About It. So I want to begin with the foundational years of shaping boys in the classroom, starting with kindergarten. This summer, Washington, D.C. joined a group of major school districts across the country banning the practice of redshirting, where families delay kindergarten a year to give their child more time to develop emotionally or academically. New York City, Chicago, and Oklahoma public schools have all passed similar bans or restrictions on that practice, arguing it benefits wealthy families and that students should be with kids their own age. Other states support redshirting, with Tennessee finding that redshirted students perform better later on in third grade literacy tests than their peers. Reeves explains why he's concerned about this growing trend of banning redshirting and why parents should strongly consider holding back their boys in kindergarten.
I'm against it myself as well because I believe that's what we call discrimination based on sex. In this case, discrimination of my sex as a male within our education system.
What are your big issues with education and men and boys?
The education system has become less boy-friendly over the last few decades. There's a few reasons for that. One is a huge decline in the share of male teachers. And I think that inevitably has an effect on the culture and ethos of the school. And we do know that when it comes to behavioral issues, etc., that having some men around helps. Because whether we like it or not, there are differences in the way that we behave. And so having male teachers around just really helps us not to immediately pathologize the way in which boys are acting. I think one of the problems is that we have this view about how a student should be. So sit still for a certain period of time, focus on abstract work, have a certain level of emotional maturity. And probably that student we've got in mind is a girl. And if boys aren't like that, we treat them like malfunctioning girls. Sort of defective female students in a way. And so they get overdiagnosed with ADD, etc. Or sometimes behavior just gets treated as requiring, suspension or whatever. And so it's a good reminder that these things are all on the average. The average 5-year-old girl is older than the average 5-year-old boy. And the average 15-year-old girl is definitely older than the average 15-year-old boy, as every parent will tell you, and as every teacher will tell you. Girls hit puberty earlier, their brains develop earlier, they become adult or more adult earlier than boys do.
Okay, guys, I'm going to have to completely disagree with what this guy is saying. And the reason why I'm disagreeing with this is because you keep saying that girls mature faster than boys, labeling them as the superior gender. You do. However, the current STD rates, the current antidepressant prescription rates, the current divorce rates, the current overall tax rates, all of these literally paint a complete and total opposite picture of what's being described here at CNN. It really is. As for a reason, well, my understanding is, let's face it, everybody, here in the West, in so many facilities, schools, churches, businesses, you name it, we keep constantly raising the expectation for boys and men, while simultaneously constantly lowering the expectation for girls and women to that of infancy. Literally, our expectations for the average woman here in the West it doesn't matter, in most facilities, schools included, are the exact same expectations you would give to an infant. You're just giving them to a full-grown adult woman now. Where the average expectations for a man here in the West, in multiple facilities, schools included, they're being risen to that of something that's not even humanly possible to do. So it doesn't really take much to put 2 and 2 together and figure out how these boys are experiencing mental burnout at a young age, or how these boys are getting the solid impression that dating women here in the West are just not worth the effort anymore at a very young age. Don't believe me? Ask yourselves this question. How many schools do you know of who they're actually teaching women, how their female students, how to treat a boy, instead of it just being how a boy should treat a girl? Like, how many? Anyways, that's all I got time for today, everybody. If you like this content, by all means, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell,